To the second week of our journey through New Jersey, highlighting places and people associated with the Underground Railroad. This initiative is part of our own journey towards reckoning with history and racial justice, and our recognition of the people and places right here in New Jersey that played a role for freedom seekers. Today, we tell the story of Harriet Tubman and the goings-on during the turbulent pre-Civil War years in CapeMay, New Jersey. Harriet Tubman is probably the most well-known figure associated with the Underground Railroad and its most famous conductor. Not only did she escape her own enslavement, but she risked her life many times over to guide others to freedom, returning to slaveholding areas, and through cunning, skill, and pure courage brought family and friends to freedom in the North. Born into slavery in Maryland, Harriet began her life of hard work at age 5. She suffered a brain injury in early adolescence when an overseer threw a 2-pound weight intended to stop a runaway, but instead missed and struck Harriet in the head. That injury produced a lifetime of headaches, seizures, and narcolepsy. During the Civil War, she was a cook, nurse, armed scout, and spy, and the first woman to lead a raid, the raid at Combahee Ferry, which liberated more than 700 enslaved people. In her later years, she was an activist in the women's suffrage movement. New Jersey played a role in Harriet Tubman's exploits within the bustling seaside resort town of CapeMay. Such a town enabled Harriet to blend in and work, since New Jersey was the last of the northern slave states, and visitors would bring their slave servants to work there as they summered. That work enabled Harriet to replenish the funds needed to make her trips on the Underground Railroad. Harriet spent 3 summers in CapeMay working and strategizing for her trips, which usually took place in the autumn, when it was warm enough to travel, yet got dark early. Here is a short clip from the Harriet Tubman Museum in CapeMay, which explains the atmosphere of CapeMay at the time.
Nobody knows.
16 miles in an open boat. 16 miles to freedom across the dark bay. The Freedom Run began at 10 o'clock on a June night in 1860. 6 slaves, men and women, found their way to the Maryland shore. They had a boat and planned to cross the Delaware Bay following the beam of the CapeMay lighthouse. They hadn't gotten far when 5 white men in another boat attacked them. Hit with oars, then pierced by bullets, the determined freedom seekers still made their escape. Rowing fiercely, despite their wounds, they made it across the dark waters and landed on the Jersey shore.
The young women were very sick. The men were tried to their last extremity. They were not far from CapeMay Lighthouse. William Still, Philadelphia Regional Coordinator of the Underground Railroad.
In the decade before the Civil War, many people fleeing slavery in Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia made their way to freedom across the Delaware Bay. But they were not the only ones coming to CapeMay, a very popular seaside resort at the southern tip of New Jersey. Steamers brought Southern planters escaping the summer heat, and abolitionists and Underground Railroad leaders from Philadelphia. CapeMay was the meeting place of North and South. They came for the ocean and the large, luxurious hotels, but there were tense times too. Fights broke out among slavers and abolitionists and the hundreds of free blacks working in the hotels. Into this scene walked 30-year-old Harriet Tubman, a freedom seeker from Maryland's eastern shore. She came to earn money to return to Maryland to free her family and friends.
I was free, but there was no one to welcome me to the land of freedom. I was a stranger in a strange land. And my home, after all, was down in the old cabin quarter with the old folks and my sisters and brothers. But to this solemn resolution I came. I was free, and they should be free also. Harriet Tubman.
Despite the price on her head, Tubman worked as a cook in Cape May the summer of 1852, perhaps earlier as well. In the fall of 1852, she left Cape May. She crossed the bay, rescued 9 people on the eastern shore, and led them to freedom in Canada. At the time, Cape May was alive with discussions and meetings of leading Philadelphia abolitionists and Underground Railroad leaders. There was the remarkable Stephen Smith, who had bought his freedom and become one of the richest black men in the country. Because of him, hundreds of enslaved people reached freedom, traveling in the secret compartments he built in his railroad cars. He built a summer home on Lafayette and Franklin Street. Right beside Smith's home was the Banneker House Hotel. Free black abolitionists from Philadelphia stayed there, and in its rooms they wrote resolutions denouncing slavery, which were circulated by Frederick Douglass in his newspaper. Across the street from Smith's house was a white Baptist church known for issuing anti-slavery resolutions. One prominent member was Joseph Leach, the local newspaper editor who reported on slave escapes to Cape May. "We glory in the spunk of our ebony friends," he wrote. Another longtime summer visitor to Cape May was a white Unitarian minister from Philadelphia, William Furness, who was known as a leading abolitionist. Furness called the fight over slavery a battle between barbarism and civilization.
If you visit Cape May in the future, plan to stop by the Harriet Tubman Museum and check out the resources about Harriet on our webpage to learn about the life of this hero and activist. Now, Kristen Plumley will help us locate Cape May on this stop on the Underground Railroad. Kristen?
Hello, everyone. You were sent a link in the invitation today to pull up your own map of New Jersey. I unfortunately, so ironically, have had connectivity issues this morning, so I couldn't print one out myself. But if you go to the USR website or onto the link that you used today to get onto this Zoom, there is a link where you can print out your own map of New Jersey, and it looks like the map of New Jersey. Like this one that I have here, except yours is on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So if you have that sheet, please get it out now, and we are going to locate Cape May on our map. So here for reference is Trenton. Here's Ridgewood. When you go down the shore, this is where you're going. And it leads us at the very bottom to Cape May. So I'm going to take our marker and put it right down here in Cape May, the second stop on our Underground Railroad journey.
Thank you, Kristen. And now Stephanie and Davis Gannon will tell you about a project that you can participate in that draws on the theme of the walk and helping those in need. Stephanie and Davis.
Hi, everybody. We're kicking off our Souls for Souls shoe drive today. To participate, it's really easy. You can drop shoes, old shoes, in the box on the front porch of Reeb. For this shoe drive, we can take any kind of shoe. So every time I talk to somebody, they say, this type of shoe, that type of shoe. It can be old sneakers. So I know people are like, you don't want my stinky sneakers. Yes, we do. Sandals, boots, even single shoes where you lost the other one. We're taking all of these shoes. You just drop them in the box on the porch at Reeb. We're also looking for a few people with Zappos accounts to print out free shipping labels. So this will allow us to get the shoes to Souls for Souls to be resold and used to make new shoes. So this allows us to ship these shoes for free to get them to the right place to be reused. Souls for Souls turns unwanted shoes and clothing into opportunity by keeping them from going to waste and putting them to good use, providing relief creating jobs and empowering people to break the cycle of poverty. Shoes you collect get funneled to developing countries where people start small businesses to sell them. By selling shoes, business owners have money to provide for their family, and people who need shoes get them at a price they can afford. By repurposing discarded shoes and clothing, you keep them out of landfills and help promote sustainability.
Please consider donating shoes to this drive or helping out by providing a Zappos label. If you want more information, reach out to me and my mom, Stephanie and Davis Cannon. Thank you.
Thanks for volunteering to help.